Tribe, listen. You are either controlling your environment or your environment is controlling you. Does that make sense? Let me put it another way, one more way here before we get started. You are either adapting to your environment or your environment is adapting to you. It's adapting to you, your standards, boundaries, and non-negotiables. Okay? So let's talk about this because I think we all can answer the question. If I asked you, where would you rather be? Option one, option two. Option one is you control the environment, or option two is the environment controls you. Which one would you rather be? Okay? Comment below and let me know. Now, I can guess, like I would want to control the environment. I would want to bend the environment to my will. That's how you bend reality. And we're going to talk about how to do this here in this video, at least one way. Why all this, what I'm doing, I'm filling up this with water. So we buy these little jugs here in the village. And then I got to put it on the tank over there. So while I do that, we're going to talk about this. Okay. And the lighting's kind of a little bit weird over here, but oh well, it's the information, baby. Let's see how you can see me. Okay. And I have a story really fast, okay, to kind of really relate to this. Is because what happens is that if we're not careful, this is so easy to do, my friends. If we're not careful, we just, by default, just subconsciously, we're not even thinking about it, we will adapt to our environment. No matter if our environment is positive or negative, no matter if our environment is good for us or not, if we stay in that environment long enough, we will adapt to it if we're not careful, if we're not aware of what we're doing, okay? And that, my friends, is a fact. Really, it's been proven. Okay. But my story is, if I don't like drop everything all over, is Aang and I recently went down to Jomtien to look for a place. Okay. And while we were down there, hopefully you can hear me between the water going. We went down for 2 weeks and we came back up here. We're planning on going back down. We didn't find a place yet. And the reason why we didn't find a place, I'll show you the reason. It's because these little butt heads, we got 3 dogs. So I didn't know that it's going to take a little, Thailand. A lot of these places don't like dogs. Okay, they don't want you to have dogs. Even though there's street dogs running all around, and they have Thai owners, by the way. I say that secretly. Okay, we didn't know that it was just going to be a pain in the butt. Okay, to find a place. So anyway, we came back up here because we needed to come back up here as Aang needed to get medicine and take her dad to the hospital. She has to do that once a month. Okay, but that's not my story. Is when we were down there for 2 weeks, okay, of course, the whole time we're down there, our whole day, we got up at 7 a.m., and we did this from 7 a.m. to about 4 p.m., 5 p.m. every single day. All we did was run around and look for a place. Run around and see it for ourselves. Run around, talk to condo agents, talk to people who they know, who do they accept dogs and stuff like that. But one of the things I noticed while I was down there that relates to this message here is that we were letting people waste our time. Do you do that? Do you let people waste your time? And what I mean by that is letting people waste your time is, I would have standards and boundaries. For example, we went and talked to a condo agent, and I told her right away, I want to follow Thai law. I'll pay 1 month going in, and I'll pay 1 month security deposit. 1 month security deposit is Thai law in Thailand. But for some reason, Thai don't want to listen to that. Even Falong that owns condos and houses don't want to listen to it either. So basically what they were doing is they wanted 2 months security deposit. So I was like, no, I'm not going to pay you 2 months because most of the time you're not going to give that money back. So I'll pay you 1 month. I want to follow Thai law. So we go to this agent. She already tells me no, but then I already know she's not holding to my non-negotiables, holding to standards and boundaries. I already know this, but yet Ang and I waste our time with them. Oh yeah, you can find a place for us. Then listen guys, she's sending us all these text places that will take dogs, but they were overpriced and they wanted too much money to go in. They want a 2-month security deposit, 1 month to go in, the last month. I mean, just crazy stuff. They didn't want to follow our Thai law. But listen guys, I knew this from the beginning and it's my fault. I let them waste my time. Do you understand? And even in this small example I have here, listen, when you let people waste your time, what ends up happening is you're molding to them. You're adapting to them. They're not adapting to you. Do you understand? The same thing I said in the beginning of this video is you're adapting to your environment, no matter if it's good or bad for you, or your environment is you're forcing the environment to adapt to you. Do you understand? It's the same thing. Okay, this is how you bend reality. Okay, in these examples really fast, is you have to have standards, boundaries, and non-negotiables in life. Okay, now you can have them in relationships, you can have them in life, what you're going to put up with, what you're not going to put up with. Like with Ang and my example, we went down to Jomtien to look for a place for the dogs. And all we did almost the whole time we were down there is let people waste their time because we adapted to them. Do you understand? You're not forcing them to adapt to you. And if they don't want to adapt to you, that's fine. You walk away. Ooh, that's how you control reality. That's how you control your environment, guys. Okay, you have standards, boundaries, non-negotiables, and you're controlling it. And if it's out of your control, then you say, no, this is what I want. This is what I mean. This is what I said. This is how it's going to go. And you still carry yourself that way. Okay, let me give you another example. Sorry, though, the light is burned out over there. Well, it's not burned out. What I find out is either guy, not the dad. The guy's Ang's nephew. Besides buying a light bulb, they take the light bulb out of here, then they put the light bulb outside. But what was I got off on the brain fart there. What was my other example that I wanted to give you here? Oh yeah, my other example I wanted to say is when we came back up here and we said, okay, we're going to come back up here, stay a little bit, maybe another month and a half, something like that, before we shoot back down to Jomtien again. Okay, so this time when we came up here, we were way more aware of our bad habits, what we were doing up here before in Surin. One of the main bad habits, what we're doing, we weren't living life. Okay. Like I was bua up here. Bua means bored. You're tired of it, whatever. There's nothing to do. Like we are 30 minutes outside the city, like in a Thai village, or 30 kilometers outside the city. It's about 30 minutes, 40 minutes. And there's really nothing to do unless you drive up to the city. Okay, so anything you want to do, listen guys, anything you want to do, you got to drive up to the city. You got to drive at least 30 minutes to do anything. The only thing you can do here in the village is shop. Okay. But Ang and I noticed when we're in Jomtien, it's like, dude, hey, when we're up here, we're not living life. We're not living life on our terms. Okay. We're basically bua and bored, not really depressed. We're tired of the environment. We came up here to take care of Ang's dad, by the way. Okay, we're doing a good deed. But the trap we fell into is we're not living life. Okay. Now, if you're not living life, okay, this is another example how you bend reality. Okay. When you just live life and you're doing what you want to do day in and day out, you're living life no matter if things are going your way or not going your way. You're living life no matter if you want to manifest your dream house. That's great. You set an intention, you set a desire. But when you wake up in the morning, you live life. Okay, that's how you control your environment, is you move on and live life. Okay, you don't listen. What we ended up doing up in the village, to put it bluntly, is that we adapted to the environment. Okay, the environment didn't adapt to us. Okay, we adapted to the environment. We became the environment. Do you understand? Meaning that everything around us is poverty. So over time, we start creating the same habits as the villagers. You know, we're like, for example, I'm not getting up and taking a shower right away. I'm waiting all day long. You know, I'm not even wearing 25% of the clothes I have. Even on YouTube, I noticed, dude, I only wear the same 3, 4, 5 shirts, because I started getting in my head like, oh, it's hot up here, it's sweaty, I'm just gonna ruin everything. I'm not living life. Okay. And then, yes, listen, guys, yes, it's out of the way. Yes, it takes more work up here, but it's doable. We can still do it. You understand? It's all it means is when we want to go shopping, we don't shop in the village now. We go up to the city and shop. We go to Big C and Macro. Okay. We want a coffee. We either go to Starbucks or we go to Amazon Cafe. Okay. And that's something Ang and I really talked about when we came back up here, is that's what we really saw, is that we're not controlling the environment up here in the village. We're letting the environment control us. So how you control the environment is, it's my rules. Okay. That's how you control the environment. You have standards or boundaries. How you control the environment is Ang and I discussed this, is, hey, when we go shopping, grocery shopping, we drive up to the city and go to Big C. For one, it's cheaper than in the Thai village, where it's all just mom and pop shops, and it's basically convenient living, convenient shopping. Everything is 2 or 3 times the price. That's a whole nother video. Okay. But that's not really why. Is Big C is a better environment. You're not shopping around poverty shops. Your eyes aren't seeing only poverty. Okay. So Ang and I together, not just me, we made rules together, standards and boundaries together. Okay. When we go shopping, we're driving up the city. No matter if it's 30 minutes away. We're going to Big C. We're going to Macro. Okay. We're going to drive up to the city 2 or 3 times a week. Either go to the movies, go to the mall, explore Surin City so we know more about Surin City. Ang's from Surin City, but she don't really live here. So we set all these rules. Like, we have to live life. And it's so simple, but when you just live life, no matter what it is, when you just live life and you move on and live life, you're controlling your environment. Okay? Because again, I sound like a robot. When Ang and I are not living life, we're just sitting there being angry and boo. We don't like it up here. We can't wait to leave. Well, what happens is we're not living life. But what happens is that communicates to our subconscious mind that you can't have what you want. It communicates scarcity and poverty because you're not doing anything. You're purposely restricting yourself. You understand? Like, several things are going on at the same time. Okay? But the big thing in this video, what's going on, is you're not controlling your environment. Okay? You're not bending reality at your will. You understand, my friends? So let's flip back to the question right in the beginning of the video. Let's start to wrap this up, okay? I don't want this to be a marathon video. Is you're either controlling your environment or your environment's controlling you. You're either adapting to your environment or your environment is adapting to you. Now, if you're in a very, very, very wealthy area, you're only hanging out around wealthy people, whatever, yes, you want to adapt to that environment, but most people are not doing that. Okay, most people are not putting themselves in those areas. Or you just don't have those areas where you're presently at right now. Does that make sense? Let me walk over and get in the water while I talk to you. Okay? So, how do we do this? Okay, which I kind of explained a little bit, is you have to set and know your standards and boundaries in life. Does that make sense, my friends? Standards and boundaries can get a little bit confusing because standards and boundaries, you can sit there and say, well, Chad, you're talking about relationships. No, okay? Yes, there's standards and boundaries in relationships. There's standards and boundaries around attracting your SP, but there's just standards and boundaries in life in general. That's why when you're trying to attract your SP, is that, I tell you all the time, is you got standards and boundaries and non-negotiables in your life. You have things you're willing to put up with and not willing to put up with. And if you're not willing to put up with it, they're not in your life. You don't entertain it. Okay, just like with Ang and I in Pattaya and Jomtien. Okay, we started to entertain things we didn't want, we didn't like. Okay, which just at the end of the day, all it did was waste our time. Does that make sense? So, like when you're trying to attract your SP, all you're doing is wasting your time because you're just you're letting people cross your boundaries and you don't do anything about it. You still just entertain it, okay? The great thing is when you're attracting your SP is you put your life on hold, okay? Almost just like Ang and I put our life on hold ever since we've been up here in Surin. We put our life on hold. And what happens when you put your life on hold, even if you're doing it on purpose, you put your life on hold, it means you're waiting. You don't have what you want. That communicates to your subconscious mind you don't have what you want. And life is a mirror. It's just mirroring back at you. Okay? That's why I told you if you want to attract your SP, is you gotta move on. You gotta have your own hobbies. You gotta hang out with your friends. You have your own stuff you like to do. Why? Because it's attractive. When your life looks like when you look like you got shit going on in your life, other people want to hang out with you. You're busy. You're a busy person with your career and personal life. You don't have time for people to waste your time. Okay. You come off attractive. You attract somebody in your life because you look like you got shit going on. But what I love about this is this relates to anything in life. It only doesn't relate to your SP. It relates to how you've been in reality, if you're controlling your environment or you're not controlling your environment. It relates twofold. Okay. If you want to manifest more money, your dream house, your dream car, dream job, well, guess what? It relates. That's why I love now talking about SP stuff, because everything relates. Okay. If you're sitting there waiting for your SP, trying your best to impress them, and all they do is run from you, that's the same thing you're doing trying to manifest more money. You're waiting for it. You're not moving on with your life. You're not living life. The best way is just to live life, my friends. That's the best way to attract anything in your life, is you got to live life. Okay. That's how you bend. That's one way to bend reality. That's one way to control your environment, is you live life. Listen, guys, you live life no matter where you're at. No matter if I'm back in the United States in California, I live life. No matter I'm in the United States in Ohio, that's where I'm originally from, I live life. No matter if I'm in Thailand, I live life. No matter if I'm in Vietnam, I live life. No matter where I'm at, I'm living life. Okay, and just from that simple thing, I'm controlling the environment. Okay, I'm dictating where I'm going. I have the steering wheel of my life. Does that make sense? You got to live life. Okay, now in that is standards and boundaries and non-negotiables. Okay, you might have standards is I'm not going to let people waste my time. Okay, just like I did in Jomtien, I let people waste my time. Okay. You might have standards where you're not going to let people talk to you a certain way. Makes sense? You're not just going to put up with it. You're going to stop it right away. Dude, a lot of my ultra wealthy friends, dude, you don't talk to them the wrong way. They pick it up right now and they let you know right now. Hey, you don't use that tone with me. You don't talk to me that way. I don't use that tone with you. I don't talk to you that way. So I appreciate the same respect. And listen, guys, if the other person don't like it, they want to debate. That's what you see online now. People want to play devil's advocate. Listen, in reality, that person isn't part of your life anymore. That's how simple it is. They're not part of my life anymore. Okay. It happened one time. I voiced my standard and they didn't respect it. Hey, they don't hang out with Chad no more. Okay. If it happens to a place I always go, well, guess what? Chad don't go to that place anymore. That's how you control. Okay. And listen, as we wrap up this video, when you do this stuff, especially with standards, boundaries, non-negotiables, especially just living life, what you're telling your subconscious mind, you're respecting yourself. You're telling your subconscious mind that, I live life no matter what. No matter what's going on, no matter if I'm stressed, I live life and have fun. No matter if life is going my way, I live life and have fun. I don't let it affect me. When I set an intention, a want, a desire, you know what? I set that intention, a want, and desire, and I still turn around and live life. Okay, move on from it. Okay? And that communicates to the subconscious mind that I'm not dictated by it. I'm enjoying life. The same way we have standards, boundaries, non-negotiables. Okay? You're communicating to your subconscious mind that you know exactly what you want. You have the steering wheel in your life with standards, boundaries, and non-negotiables. You know exactly what you want. You know exactly what the standards and boundaries you have around your life, around your whole lifestyle. Okay? And you have non-negotiables in there. What your non-negotiables is literally stuff you will not put up with one time. That's a non-negotiable. Okay? And listen, when you enforce standards, when you enforce boundaries, when you say, hey, we're not going to be here no more, and you enforce that, you're controlling your environment. You're basically forcing the environment. I hate to use the word force, but the environment has to adapt to you. You're not adapting to it. Okay? And that communicates to your subconscious mind. For example, one way is decisions. Okay, within standards and boundaries and non-negotiables, you're making decisions. You're upholding your decisions. And that communicates to your subconscious mind that, hey, Chad always does what he says he's going to do. When Chad says he wants something, he just moves on. He's unattached from it. He don't need it, and it always comes to him. Okay, Chad doesn't let people waste his time. Okay, Chad respects his time. He respects himself. So when that finally gets ingrained in your subconscious mind, well, guess what? Things start coming to you. Things start working out. And by the way, it doesn't really mean that you're not going to have negative circumstances. It doesn't mean nothing bad's not going to happen to you. But listen, guys, even if something negative happens, life is happening for you, for your benefit. Okay, I could look at going down to Jomtien. I could look at it as a waste of time. We went down there for almost a couple weeks, spent over $1,000 just to go down there. I could look at it as a waste of time. I could look at it as, oh my God, we went down there, we looked and couldn't find a place for the dogs. Okay. I could come back up here and be like, oh my God, that was just a waste of time. But life is happening for me, for my benefit. Okay, there's something for me to learn. And there's a lot that we learned. We learned things as a couple. We learned things as manifesting as a couple, co-creating as a couple, manifesting. Okay, but we also learned things individually. You understand? I learned things kind of came business-wise because I was kind of away. I wasn't attached to YouTube anymore because I was so busy over here. I wasn't busy over here. I learned things. I learned things I wasn't doing. You understand? Okay, that I did down in Jomtien. You understand? So I don't want to go down a whole history of what I learned down there. I didn't even have a Thai SIM card. Okay, I haven't had a Thai SIM card or a Thai number. I had one when I lived in Phuket for a year. After that, I just thought, oh, I don't really need one. I just have my US number. But when I went down to Jomtien, guess what? I needed internet. We were all around the place. I needed internet because I still needed to work on my phone. So I got a Thai SIM card. Okay, when I got a Thai SIM card, it was almost like the first time I ever had internet on my phone. I was like, dude, why didn't I do this earlier? You understand, okay? I went over to Facebook, my personal Facebook. It's funny, I'm sitting in the toilet on Facebook, And I look at like you can be monetized on your personal Facebook. I never knew that. So then I got monetized on my personal Facebook. Okay, that happened down in Jomtien. Okay, on the business thing, what I noticed with Jomtien was organic posting. Is like for the last year, okay, I scheduled all my posts. I use schedulers to post everything. That's how I can post so much. Okay, but the traction is very, very little. Okay, now like platforms, social media platforms, they know if you're using a scheduler or not. They know you're using an external scheduler, so they kind of they hide your post a lot because they really want you on the app. Okay, they want you posting stuff. Okay, organically right now. Okay, I learned that. Actually, I learned that down in Jomtien. Because when I was all over the place, I didn't have time. I'm not sitting at a computer. I'm just posting stuff from my phone. And guess what? When I started posting stuff from my phone, dude, views just increase at least 3 times. Okay, if not 10 times. Okay, so when we came back up here, I adapted. I stopped scheduling posts. I stopped the schedulers. I stopped everything and said, hey, we are organically posting. Okay, that's life is happening for you, baby. Okay, nothing is a waste of your time. Life is happening for you benefit. Okay, Aang and I learn how to better manifest together because we were contradicting ourselves because we didn't like it up in Surin. That's why we sat down and talked about what we're talking about here. Is you have to have fun, live life no matter where you are. That's how you control your environment. Okay. See, up here, the environment was controlling us, but we look around and it's like, oh, it's all poverty. People's like walking around drunk all the time. No one dressed nice. So guess what? We started not dressing nice. We started not doing anything. We started not going up to the city. We started just sitting in here. Yes, I worked a lot, but we just started just sitting in here, just letting time pass. Rather than taking control and say, hey, you know what? We're living life, no matter up here, no matter where we are still doing the same thing. We're still living life. That's how you control stuff, okay? Okay, friends, I still got to put a little bit more water in here. But yeah, if you have questions on this, comment below. We'll chat this up as best as I can. If you need help with this, check out the description. The description is where I keep all the nuggets in the description, baby. So check out the description. Everything's in there. Other than that, remember, I love you guys. And I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.